Welcome everyone to week number 8, our final week together in Science 200. And before I move off the slide, I just want to introduce you to Olaf. Olaf is making an appearance this week. So Olaf is a very mischievous, cranky, grumpy elf, and he tells on everybody. And my granddaughter does not like him because he is forever telling what she has done wrong here at the Christmas season. So anyway, just wanted to introduce you to Olaf. Better watch out. All right, let's get into what our course is about, especially this last week. You worked on your speaker's notes this week, and so hopefully you organized that presentation that you have to put together for week 8. And then you made speaker's notes for each one of the slides. So I will be grading those as quickly as I can, and you can add those to your presentations during this week. You learned a lot about a lot of different topics during this term, and I want to mention a few because we had really good discussions in week number 6. And you told us what you learned about your topic, and then you reflected on what other people had learned. So I felt like week 6 discussions were really, really good. GMOs, genetically modified organisms. Well, they're not exactly as negative as everybody says. In fact, there is literally no scientific study that shows that they have a negative effect on our health. There are possibilities that people could be allergic to them because people are allergic to almost anything you can think of, right? Everything from peanuts to pollen to, who knows what else. So GMOs, that's an interesting topic because there is a lot of controversy about them. And I think most of you who delved into that topic also found out how prevalent they are. Basically, every bit of corn, any kind of corn product that is eaten in this country right now is genetically modified. Soybeans, there's so many different organisms that have been genetically modified. And basically, you're doing this in the lab, but we have done this for tens of thousands of years as human beings by selecting traits. We're just doing this a little bit faster in a lab by adding the little snippets of DNA into these, mostly plants, but some animals too, in order to give them new traits. So those are GMOs. Electric vehicles, you took a look at whether they really are green. Do they help with emissions? Do they help with air pollution? And the answer is usually yes. There are some drawbacks to them. Those nasty old batteries that they have, the lithium batteries, aren't the most environmentally friendly power supplies. And then you have to decide what to do with them once they wear out. There's been a big push to recycle them, so we'll see how that goes. Biodiversity conservation, terribly important because biodiversity is a measure of the health of an ecosystem. When you do not have a biodiverse number of species in an ecosystem, then it is not healthy. And so we are seeing destructions of ecosystems throughout the world. The rainforest in the Amazon is a really good example of this. Because of agriculture, because of people buying up the land and wanting to use it in different ways. And so it's really important to conserve biodiversity anywhere that we possibly can so that we can keep the health of the planet together. And we are doing so many things to avoid keeping the health of the earth together. Ocean acidification is one of the problems that comes along with the combustion of fossil fuels because so much extra carbon dioxide is moving into the atmosphere and then it diffuses right into the ocean water. And those of you who examined this found out that this causes changes in marine life. Everything from plankton, which are the microscopic organisms in the water, to coral reefs, all the way up to shellfish and fish, and the mammals in the ocean, etc. Ocean acidification is harming all life in the ocean. Genetic engineering is not done in human beings yet. Will it be done? Yes, it will, but we have to figure out the ethical issues and deal with those before we move forward in manipulating the genes in human beings. We've got to decide who decides this and who doesn't decide this, and what can you decide on. Are we just going to cure diseases with this technology? Are we going to change traits in individuals? We'll see. That's coming in the future, though. So you learned a lot, and these are just a few things that y'all discussed in that week 6 discussion. So this week we've got discussion boards again, and this week you're going to discuss how you had challenges fashioning your presentation to a particular audience. And did your sources help you in figuring this out? And also, did the textbook, did the Sumo web text help you in thinking about how to go about presenting to a particular audience and what things you should consider? In your response post, you're going to look at the similarities or differences in your experience with fashioning your presentation to your audience compared to your classmates. Don't forget to respond to 2 classmates by Sunday night. Your initial post is always due by Thursday night before midnight. Response is Sunday night before midnight. Complete the exercises in Chapter 8. There's not very much left, but it shows you how the science about the Deepwater Horizon oil spill was communicated to the public and tourists, and still is. And it gives you some statistics which are absolutely mind-blowing. There's probably at least a third of the oil that came up from that oil spill that we have no idea where it went. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, we just don't know. All right, and then your important assignment for this week is your final presentation on your topic. These are your slides, between 5 and 7 slides. Okay, that doesn't count your title slide. That doesn't count your reference slide, right? So like 5 to 7 slides that are of substance. And you follow the guidelines in the rubric, the scientific background, all of that, right? So follow the guidelines and rubric. You've already done this for the speaker's notes. So now what you're doing is putting together slides through PowerPoint, Canva, Prezi, Google Slides. There's more than that. However you want to put slides together. And you will make this in a presentation format. So when you're making a presentation, sorry about the dinging. When you're making a presentation, be sure to include graphics. You want to grab your audience's attention. You want to create an emotion in them because you want them to listen to you and you want to influence their thinking. That's the whole point of a presentation, right? So put it out there. Put interesting things on the screen for them to look at. And then in your speaker's notes, down there at the bottom, I showed you last week where to put the speaker's notes where they can't see them. That's where you're explaining everything to them, all right? Make sure that you include the speaker's notes on the bottom of your slides. There's a way to do that. I showed you last week. Go back and look at that video if you're not sure. Graphics, data tables, data is really important in scientific presentations, so don't forget to include that. If you're talking about climate change, there's all kind of data out there. Electric vehicles, same thing. Ocean acidification, yes. Biodiversity conservation, yes. There are hot spots around the world where biodiversity is declining rapidly, and these are very important ecosystems, that sort of thing. You can put some words on your slides. I suggest that you use bullet points. That's what I usually do. Yeah, now, I know that I have a lot of words on here. Okay, I know that. But I need for you to be able to read this and look back at it too, besides me talking. But for you, you want to just put some powerful bullet points, not whole sentences, just phrases, right? That's all you need for your audience. You don't put just a whole bunch of words on a slide. Could there be anything more boring than that? Yeah, no, there isn't. So, graphics, terribly important, data, all that sort of thing, bullet points. Okay. And final thoughts and tasks. If you would please, please, I'm asking you please, fill out your course evaluations on me. Help me improve as an instructor. So fill out your course evaluations. I ask you to please do this for me. And I want to mention that the last day to turn in any work for this course, it closes to you after Sunday night, December 17th at 11:59 p.m. So at midnight, it's just like Cinderella, you know, the course closes. And so you can't add anything. If you're having any kind of issues, if you're thinking about trying to take an incomplete, you need to tell me this before the end of the term. I have to turn in the request before the end of the term. And I have to fill out a bunch of stuff and click a bunch of boxes and that sort of thing. And the one thing that they will catch us both on is if you have not completed 70% of the course successfully. So this means A, B, or C on those assignments, right? So if you are thinking about taking an incomplete, I need to know ahead of time. And you need to make sure that you've completed at least 70% of the coursework. If you have not, that is just one little box that I check on the request form. And if that is not checked, they will not let you take an incomplete. So I'm just telling you now, that's the alternative that we have if you feel like you just can't get through the material. And some of you have been having some hardships during this term. So, you know, we've been talking to each other, so you know this. I wish you all the best of luck and happy holidays. I looked up the other day and there are 18 different holidays during this time period in a year that people celebrate all across the world. So I wish you happy holidays and good luck to you all. And please keep in touch. I'm here. I'll be here next year. m.sigmon@snhu.edu. So let me know if you need anything this week and beyond. Have a great week.